Hi, and welcome to the 7th part of our Guitar Guy 101 lesson plan, Basic Theory. So up to this point, things have been fairly easy and straightforward. Now it gets a little bit tougher, so it's okay to watch the next few lessons over and over until you grasp it. In our Basic Theory lesson, we're going to cover a couple things: natural notes, sharp and flat notes, and semitones and whole tones. To get started on our theory portion, we're going to explain notes on each string up to the first 5 frets of the guitar. Now, we are excluding sharp and flat notes, as we'll be touching on this later in the lesson. First, let's start with our low E string. This is open. And we're going to go up letter names up to G. First fret, this is our F note. 3rd fret, this is our G note. Now we go to an A note. This is our open A string. 2nd fret, this is our B note. 3rd fret is our C note. Open D, that is our D note. 2nd fret, that is our E note. 3rd fret is F. Then open G. And then 2nd fret is A. And then we skip and we go to open B string, and then 1st fret is C, and then D is 3rd fret, and then we have open E, our high E, and we have just traveled 2 octaves. These notes are called natural notes. This means that they are not sharp or flat, but we'll get into that in a minute. Now, just to rewind real quick, let me show you something. If we take our first 3 notes again, our E, F, and our G, E, F, G, and we go to A, instead of going to open A, go ahead and go to the 5th fret. That is also A. So it's good to note that at the 5th fret, these 2 strings become the same. The 5th fret on the E string is the same as open A. So we go A, B, C, up to the 5th fret is D, so it's the same as open D. Then from D string we go D, 2nd fret is E, F is 3rd fret, slide up to the 5th fret, that's G, just like open G. Now at the G string it changes. We go G, A is 2nd fret, and 4th fret is B, which is the same as open B. So that string changes. On that string it's the 4th fret where they're the same. And then on the last string, or on your B string, we have B is open, C is 1st fret, D is 3rd fret, then we're back at 5th fret to make E, which is the same as open E. So it's just good to notice that the first 5 frets is where a lot of that happens. Okay, let's move on to whole tones and semitones. A semitone is a single fret space. So these are our frets. And basically a semitone is going to be a single fret space in either direction. So let's start, let's say, on our G note. Here's our G note. Now if we're going to go a semitone higher, a semitone is 1 fret space. So we go 1 fret space higher, a semitone higher. If we go a semitone lower, we go down a fret space. That is a semitone. Now let's take our G note again. Now a whole tone is 2 fret spaces. So if we're going to go a whole tone higher, we go 2 fret spaces higher. So go 2 fret spaces higher. And here we are on our A note. If we go 2 fret spaces lower from our G, we get our F note. So once again, a semitone is 1 fret space, a whole tone is 2 fret spaces. Now, just take a look at our notes and we will see that E to F is a semitone. F to G is a whole tone. G to A is a whole tone as well. A to B is a whole tone. And then B to C is a semitone. So there the semitone came in. C to D is a whole tone, D to E is a whole tone, and then E to F is a semitone again, and we're back where we started. So if you were to keep on going, you would basically see the general rule of thumb is that between E and F is a semitone, and between B and C is also a semitone. Everything else is whole tones. Now, we have to understand what sharps and flats are. Basically, sharp means higher and flat means lower. So, to make a D sharp, we take a D note. Let's do this D note. 5th fret on the A string. This is a D note. Now, to make it sharp, we raise it by a semitone. So, we move it one semitone higher. That is a D sharp. To make a D flat, we lower it by a semitone. So we see that we can have 3 different D notes. We can have a D natural, a D sharp, and a D flat. Every note can be sharp, flat, or natural. So now let's take the C for example. To make a C flat, we lower it by a semitone. And to make a C sharp, we raise it by a semitone. Now, notice that the C sharp is also D flat. This is C sharp, and this is D flat. They are the same note. You might ask yourself, well, what do I call the note then? Do I call it D flat or C sharp? Well, there are some simple musical rules that tell if the note is sharp or flat. We will be getting into these rules in our next lesson about scales.